This is the PL-89 Gematria Quantum Thought Calendar for September 14th and the 21st day of Elul. The numbers for today on this calendar, this lunar and solar calendar, combines the Hebrew and Gregorian calendars into one composite calendars and other calendars as well. But the main two are the Hebrew and the Gregorian. On the Hebrew and the Gregorian, September 14th is in box 14. The coordinates are D6. D6 is 14. This is September 14th. And it's an actually very unusual number because most of the numbers are not on the day. It follows an order, a sequence, but it doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes 8 plus 9 plus 8 plus 9. Cutting off at 40, each box can be added 40 to it, and it's considered in the same box. It's called the rule of 40, and today's September 14th is one of the few numbers that the box number is actually on the same number of the day. Yesterday was September 13th, and it was box 5. The 12th, box 37, 11th, 28. It's very few boxes actually had the number on it. So that's interesting. The coordinates again are D6. And for Elul 21st, the coordinates are C7. C7, box 33. The rule of 40 again states that any number in this calendar is the holder of any descendant after it or before it, meaning any positive or negative number that a whole number that is added 40. So for example, 14 plus 40 is 54. So this is also 54. Is also 94. It's also 134, 174, etc. 2,014. And so the same thing with 33. 33 is 73, 113, 153, 2,033. 2 trillion, etc. So the two numbers for today are 14 and 33, and by extension, they can be 254 because 14 is a patriarch, is a root by the rule of 40 of 254. If you add 40s to 14, you'll eventually hit 254. And you may ask, why did I choose 254? It's intuitive. I don't know why I chose it. Basically, what I do is in my own sort of thought process, I call it getting on the thought train. When you start at the root number, you get on the thought train, and the thought train stops at stations of every 40. So 14 stops at 54, stops at 94, stops at 134, 174, 214, and it keeps on going on the stations. And the moment that my mind finds a gematria, stop there. And sometimes I pass it, and then it goes back. Right now the cap is 1,000. So it goes 14, 54, and I hit 254, stop, get off there. It's just wherever my mind stops on. It's intuitive. So that's why it's the quantum gematria thought calendar, because there are some metaphysical aspects to it. It has to do with letting my mind be open to pick whatever shows up right away, which I can't quite explain why I stopped on that one today, but it's my belief that over time there will be some very interesting results in this intuitive approach to data mining, to creating patterns. It's sort of I don't know if the word fractal approach to data mining is the right term, but maybe something of that is here. But anyway, so 254 is the Hebrew word chamor, which means donkey, and chamor equals 254 if you spell it chet mem vav resh. It has a numerical value 254, and donkey is an animal that it's a beast of burden. It carries a heavy load. They're very strong, and they accept their plight. They work hard, and they're I would say they're generally kind animals, but I don't know exactly the nature of all of them, but it seems they're good-natured, generally speaking. They carry the load, and they also carry something to achieve something. And so therefore the word chamor has other connotations. Chamor is like chomer, which is matter, chomriot. Matter is carrying the spirit. Our bodies, the chomer of our bodies, carry our spirit. It's like our body's like a chamor, it's like a donkey. And even comparable in its, I mean, it's strong, but it's not that intelligent. I mean, I guess some donkeys have some intelligence, but they're kind of like, they're not that intelligent. But the body is doing its job. It's carrying, it's being a vessel for the soul. So that's chamor. And that's for the solar calendar. But the lunar calendar is in 33. 33 by extension could be 73, it could be 113, it could be 153, it could also be 273. And my mind today stopped at 273 on the 33 thought train. 273 is actually the gematria of the word gematria itself. Now there's a few ways you can spell gematria. The way it's spelled generally in Israel is not what I'm referring to. The way it's spelled among modern Israeli, modern Hebrew today, they would spell it with a hey at the end. Gimel Yud Mem Tet Resh Yud Hey Gematria Yud Hey. But in the more ancient, the Talmudic, the Aramaic version of this word, it's spelled with an aleph, as is most Aramaic has ending. If it's it's ending with an aleph. And so like Gemara itself is an aleph. There's no hey at the end. But I can see that in Israel they might write Gemara with a hey at the end. And generally that's the case. In Aramaic, it's going to be ending with an aleph, but in Hebrew, in modern Hebrew, it's going to be ending with a hey. So what is 273? It's the gematria of the word gematria. And the association that I wanted to make, that gematria itself is like a donkey. You're dealing with numbers which are like coarse, they're opaque. You can't really see what they are, and you also can't really argue with them. If I said 5312, what would you say? You'd say that's not true. You would say it's true. Would you say I don't like that number? Would you say you like that number? You can say whatever you want, but it's going to stand. And like we don't have this, as opposed to words. Let's just say in a legal context, or words in a scriptural context, they can be interpreted, and they can be slanted a certain way. Words can be used to obscure truth by the way they're used with certain intentions. But numbers, you can't do that. Numbers are completely generic. They're universal. You can make them mean whatever you want them to mean, and if you see them plainly, no one can argue with what a 2 is. No one can argue with what a 73 is. But, and furthermore, once you give it a meaning, and you've translated its numerical value, and I told you that gematria equals 273 in the Aramaic way of spelling it, in the regular Hebrew gematria cipher, that's a fact. No one can argue with that. It's not subject to interpretation. It's counting. That's why I really love gematria so much, and I've come to understand that it is a viable and effective tool for finding the truth, because when a numerical value is given to a word, it is the absolute, within the certain rules, within the cipher. I mean, if I said the gematria of gematria was 273, then you could come at me at a few ways. If you wanted to challenge it, you could say, well, maybe we don't spell it that way. Okay, but then I would tell you what the number is the way you spell it. I would tell you, if you spell it in the Israeli way with a hey, it's going to be 277, and then that will be the ultimate truth. You can always find something exact, and then you can't say, well, I don't really interpret it that way. Now, if you didn't, and you would say, well, how do you interpret it? Then you would have to say that, you'd say, I don't translate words into numbers. We don't do that. And that's, I think, the stance of many people today. They don't deal with it. But if you happen to enter this world then you'll see that there's some very interesting results, that there's an intention behind the numbers and their values, the words and their numerical values.